igniting the next generation. What a powerful phrase. And I actually have my match here with me. And I thought about this match. I was looking at it. This is an old kitchen match from when I was a kid. They had these matches everywhere. And I love this with the little red on top and the white little tip. And I guess that's the spark is in there, and then the wood. And as I look at this, I'm reminded that the power in this could literally burn down the house here that I'm standing on my back porch, one of my favorite places. There's so much power in this. And as I think about you investing in young people, parents, teachers, and coaches, especially I want to talk to the parents here for a second. I want to remind you that you have a spark in you that could literally ignite the person that you have a chance to invest in, whether it be your own kid or somebody you're coaching or somebody that you're teaching, if you are a teacher or a coach. It's just huge opportunity we have. I spent several years as a teacher and actually as a coach as well. But then I was a dad, during that time, and I look back over that time that we had to invest in our kids. And I'm so excited that you have this opportunity. I've written a new book called Winning Begins at Home, and I want to talk about this for a second. We spend most of our time in the marketplace working with leaders, but I thought this book was really important because I don't find anything out there on how to help people win where I think it matters most. I always say if you win at work and you lose at home, you still lose. So what are some of the things that we could do as dads specifically? I've been asked to encourage here. What are some things that we could do? And I want to give you a little way to think about this, a framework that'll help you. But the first thing I would say is let's start with a question. And here's the question I ask myself often. How do I live my life in such a way that the people who know me the best actually love me the most? I know a bunch of executives, bunch of leaders, bunch of coaches, bunch of parents, bunch of teachers. The people who know them the best actually respect them the least. And if you're a dad listening to this, or a mom for that matter, I want to encourage you to live in such a way that the people who know you the best, love you the most, they actually might even like you if you begin to live that way. And so what would that look like? It would be important for us to understand that it's not just that we know what to do, but it's really, as much as anything, it's who we are underneath the surface, as we always say. And we use an iceberg as our picture for leadership when we think about it. And I think that's the picture I want to give you here for a second. I want you to think about an iceberg. If you go all the way back to elementary school, they told us the first time you saw one that 90% of the thing is below the waterline, only 10% above. And I think that's just a good reminder that what people see on the outside, that's just a small part of who we really are. And as a parent, I want to encourage you to dive into the heart side of your leadership, the character side of your leadership today. And I'm going to give you an acronym that I think will help you do that. It's one we teach in businesses, but I think this will encourage you today. So there's these 5 what we call heart habits. Let me spell out the word heart and give these to you. The first one is to hunger for wisdom. To hunger for wisdom. If I could encourage you to do anything as a leader, it would be to seek wisdom, seek to be a wise leader. The wise decision is the best decision. And wise leaders are always the most fun to follow. They're the most safe to follow. It's really what we want to do. We've heard forever that leaders are readers. I think that's really true. We need to read. But I want to change it a little bit. Leaders are learners. I think we always should be seeking wisdom, trying to get more wise. When we are thinking the wise thing, it's going to ripple out, and the people that are following us are going to benefit from that. Here's the second thing I would encourage you. Second heart habit is to expect the best. This is about being positive. This is about believing that something great can happen even in the midst of something hard. These days, kids are going through so many hard circumstances. The last statistic I saw, about a third of people are now struggling with mental health, stress, anxiety. I'm not sure it's all clinical. Some of it is, and I probably can't help you with that. But here's what I can tell you. If we will stay positive, we have a chance to ripple that as well out into the lives of other people. And some of that anxiety can go away based on the way we believe. And do we really understand that we have agency and we have choice, and there's things that we can do differently? If we don't like the way things are going, we can change things. But this idea of being positive is such a powerful mindset. I think it's really hard to go to a positive place with negative people. We can do everything in our power to be positive around the next generation, and all of a sudden they begin to benefit from that. And I was talking to somebody just the other day. They said, one of the things that I liked most about my parents is they were always positive. They always were speaking life into us. And I think we have an opportunity to do that. Critical is not going to motivate anyone. I think we're never persuasive when we're abrasive. We get an opportunity to soften the edges, to speak life into people. And when we do that, it really can make a huge difference. Okay, so we got hunger for wisdom and expect the best. The A is to accept responsibility. I think for us to accept responsibility and to model that for our children, for the people that we're investing in this next generation, it's a huge opportunity for us to model what they ought to follow. We know everybody should accept responsibility for their actions, and yet how many of us, we want to hold them to a standard that we're not really willing to hold ourselves to. So I want to encourage you to do that. Let's accept responsibility for our actions, and let's accept responsibility for making sure we're leading the next generation the way we should. The R is to respond with courage. When I hear courage, sometimes I'm tempted to think, let's go bungee jumping in New Zealand or a helicopter ride, parachute. I mean, that would require courage for me. I'm not real big on heights. But when I think about courage for a leader or someone who's investing in the next generation, I'm thinking about a person who's willing to admit when they're wrong, willing to have a hard conversation, willing to be present in the hard times with somebody. When something's not going right, we show up. It's willing to turn from our mistakes and or give somebody another chance when they make a mistake. So many ways that we can show courage and demonstrate courage to the people around us. I want to encourage you, put courage into you, that you have a chance to really model courage for others. I don't think leaders are ever comfortable being comfortable. I think they're comfortable when they're being courageous. We're born to be courageous. And I'll give you one little way to think about this. If you've ever driven a stick shift, I'm not even sure they make stick shifts much anymore. The manual transmission, you push the clutch, and we could put the car, let's say we had a 5-speed, we could put it in second gear and we could actually drive it across the country. But why would we want to do that? It would make no sense. It'll go in second gear, but it's not really born to do that. We need to push the clutch and level it up to third, fourth, and ultimately get it into fifth gear if we're going to make maximum progress and reach our potential. I think the same thing is true for us. Some of you have Ferrari in you. It's not just some 5-speed, sedan. I mean, you've got a life in you that is waiting to be lived. I want to encourage you today to push the clutch and level up, and let's just get a little better every day. And as we do that, again, we're modeling for the people around us this idea of courage. We've got too many people these days wanting to be comfortable. I think really great leaders are willing to pay the price to be courageous. And as a result, everybody, again, benefits around us. And then here's the fifth one, the last heart habit I'll give you. One last thing to think about is this idea of being a servant leader, which we say is to think others first, Now, I don't know about you, but I love me some me. It's easy for me to think about myself first. If I'm not careful, I'll fall into this pattern of being a self-serving leader, not a serving leader. And yet all the people who have influenced me the most, they're constantly trying to help other people win. I think it's almost like a picture of an offensive lineman on a football team. If you like football or hate football, if I ask you to think of a couple of football players, you would think of probably some quarterbacks would come to mind first. The last person that would typically come to mind would be an offensive lineman. And yet every good coach will tell you, if you can't block them, you can't beat them. And those linemen understand that. They're not looking for notoriety. They're not looking for their name in the paper. They show up every day, get all padded up, go out on the field and open up holes so other people can score. I think as you think about the next generation, how amazing would it be if thousands of us would literally show up every day and open up holes so other people could score. The next generation could go further, maybe even faster than what we have. And so I want to encourage you today to be a servant leader, a leader who thinks others first. I think if you'll do that, you'll really become a leader who others want to follow. It really does start with your heart. I'll just remind you today, if your heart's not right, nobody really gives a rip about your skills. I hope you have great skills. I hope they're getting better. I hope you are winning at home. I mean, I've got the book here. I really do. I do hope winning really does begin at home. I hope you're asking yourself that question. How do I live in such a way that the people who know me the best love me the most? Then if you get these 5 heart habits down, you're going to be well on your way. I know so many people that are really great leaders, but the best of the best when I think about them, so many times they were wise, they were positive, they took responsibility for their actions, they were courageous, and they were selfless. And I think if we can get that right, we really can be difference makers in this next generation. The world is a mess right now. I'm not sure which way you'll vote politically, but I'm not confident either way that the government's going to fix all the problems that we have these days. I love educators. Some of you are teachers, and I was a teacher back in the day, and I know a bunch of great teachers, and they're telling me it's really hard out here in education. Education's important, but that's not going to solve everything. I'm crazy enough to believe, though, that one leader, one spark, one opportunity can ignite something in the next generation, and that one can pass to one, and there could literally be a blaze that we could empower in this next generation. I love what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. I hope you'll continue to light the spark in that just that one person. Think about that one person that you can affect. If you'll do that, I think you're going to be a leader that's going to have huge impact. You can know that I'll be out here cheering for you.